Hi, welcome to the YouTube channel. Oh, a lot of recent events, Earth Day, and so Kill Paris just released a sample pack called Plant Based, and basically what he did was he hooked up some sort of probe or like electrodes to plants, and then converted whatever signals he got back from the plants into MIDI. What ended up happening is it resulted in this really beautiful plucky type of triggers, to which he then applied to a couple different instruments, including a guitar, I think. But anyways, most of the sounds ended up coming out very similar to this type of plucks. So what I did was I took a lot of those initial sounds that you just heard and I put them into a live session. Now this one is a complete, because I kind of went a little bit crazy with it, and I'm still a little bit new to filming YouTube videos, so I wasn't sure how much I was gonna film, but I'm really proud of what I ended up making, and I figured it might be worthwhile to sort of walk you through how I got to where we're at, just in case anyone's looking for help on working with samples or just kind of losing creativity and like using weird sounds to your advantage. So we have the initial samples here that I showed you, and I basically just put it into a, so I just have the samples in a 4/4 loop, basically playing over and over again throughout the song. So these will be the 4 samples that I actually ended up taking from the sample pack. I really liked the way that they plucked, and I noticed that they harmonized together for the most part. I actually left these samples specifically, mostly untouched. That's just because they sounded so good on their own. They already had a little bit of reverb on them, and all I did was put a Tal reverb, which is just a plugin. You can get it for free. I have -10 on the wet, turned the pre-delay all the way down, and that's pretty much it. We just kind of let the reverb carry it throughout the track. I wanted to try really hard to keep the focus on the samples and keep the focus on sort of that tranquility. You really capture that with the way that the chords were plucking. And I wanted to hold on to that with the track. So after that, we actually took a synth from that MIDI pack as well. Nothing really done to that other than adding some bit reduction there, just to kind of give it a little bit more texture. And we also put a compressor on there so that we could sidechain the kick to it. So far, everything is really simple in the track, and I kind of aimed to do it that way. It really starts to get a little bit more complex when we're starting to work with the basses and a couple of the other live instruments that I recorded, and a couple of vocal samples as well. We also got these. Alright, so it really started to get fun when I started to record these snaps. I was really feeling that the track was missing sort of kind of like a homey feel, something that was vibey. Snaps typically bring that about, in my opinion. So I just hopped onto the mic and recorded myself snapping a couple of times. So this is the snap as recorded. Basically, I just put it into mono because I have a XLR microphone and it recorded everything onto the left side. So I put a utility effect on there, I guess, and I made everything into mono. After that, I put some reverb on there, and I EQ'd it just to get a little bit of the low end off. And then I started having some fun with the echo plugin. Now, if you're not familiar with it, there's a couple of cool things that you can do, specifically in the time mode. Basically, you want to make sure that the right and the left is linked. And when you start increasing and decreasing the delay, you end up getting some cool effects, especially when it comes to percussion. If it's not hitting quickly and there's a lot of space in between the triggers, which would be the snaps in this case, it really lets the echo breathe. And I don't know, it gets kind of silly. So after that, I actually recorded some shakers, which I have over here. I felt that that would help with the general groove, and it would be some added textures in the track. Once again, I didn't want to overload it with sounds, but I wanted to make it feel very full. And to get that across, usually you would layer a lot of different percussion on top of each other. Obviously, be mindful not to layer too much, and be mindful not to overload your system with so many percussive instruments that don't share the same rhythm. So if you're gonna have competing rhythms going on with the percussion, be mindful of that, because sometimes it can confuse the listener, and we definitely don't want that. But super simple on that one. That's bongos. My bad. Here are the shakers. That's not the... Where the fuck are the shakers? And all we did that was just a super simple EQ just to take off the low end. Once again, we really want to leave most of the low end for the kick and the bass, especially in this track and most of the tracks that I find myself producing. Those are usually kind of like the main instruments in the tracks, and we want to make sure to leave that space alone. So yeah, just a simple EQ on that. We had an echo on there, but I don't think we ever ended up turning it on. We also have a sidechain going through it, and it's just sidechain to the kick, and you'll notice here that sidechain is working perfectly fine. So all together right now with the sounds that we've shown, we have the synth. Oh yeah, we also recorded bongos. Here's how they sounded. Once again, simple EQ, a compressor just for the sidechain, a little bit of reverb here, and an auto pan. So I really wanted to make sure that you were hearing that there are bongos without having to turn it up that much. And this being a live recording, I didn't record it that loud to start with. So it does manage to stay in the background, but if you listen for it, you might be able to find it in the track. And I think little gems like that really make it fun. And very playful in nature, especially because we were going with the bongos and the shakers and everything like that. They all really mesh together. So here's how they sound together. Pretty happy with that so far. Other than that, we did manage to add some background textures. So we managed to add a rain sample as well as a vinyl crackle sample just to kind of keep it still in the background. Notice I have them significantly turned down, one to -9 decibels, the other one to -7, and I probably could go a little bit more. But do keep in mind, when you are adding samples like this, you definitely want to sidechain them, and I mean sidechain them hard, because when you have those in conjunction with the kick and the snare, and it sort of creates a breathing effect with that, it changes the whole atmosphere of the track. And I think that sometimes a lot of these background noises definitely add to the track. And I guess without further ado, we're just going to show the whole track. I'm not 100% sure how mega curious everybody is on how I did it. Obviously, you could let me know in the comments down below if you needed a little bit more information out of that. I just thought this was a really cool video, and I wanted to shed some light on the sample pack, which is called Plant-Based by Kill Paris, and also just kind of have a little bit of fun there. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I really appreciate this, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Once again, my name is Billy, aka Okkii Music, and peace out.
Mm-hmm.